Alright, ladies and gentlemen, today is the first ever UFC video based on a preview, my predictions, and my opinion about what might happen at UFC 187. Now, if you guys have catched any news about Jon Jones, he was the champion going into this event, defending his UFC light heavyweight title against Anthony Rumble Johnson. Unfortunately, I don't know what the hell this guy was on. Maybe some meth, crack, and cocaine, maybe a mixture of all three. Who the fuck knows? But, bottom line is, on this event, he was supposed to be defending the championship. Unfortunately, he's not. Daniel Cormier is taking over his spot. Jon Jones is stripped of the UFC Light Heavyweight Championship and is suspended indefinitely, as you guys may already know. And if you don't know, I go ahead and check it out and read up on it. It's pretty interesting and pretty fucking weird. People think he might have brain damage. I think he's just a fucking cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs and just a jackass. But anyway, moving on with this video, we're going to go ahead. I'm going to give you a little detail on some of the other fights that come before that. Also, co-main event is for the middleweight championship with Chris Weidman versus Weidman Belfort. Two good, outstanding fighters in the UFC. Weidman Belfort, definitely being a veteran and a well-known fighter in UFC, has fought many times in the octagon. And Weidman being known as a guy who has definitely proven twice that he can beat the absolute best in the UFC middleweight division. Now, we're going to go ahead and get into some of the fights. Some of these fighters that I might be, if I'm not too familiar with, I'm not going to get too heavily involved with the fight and talk too much about it. I'll just give you some of my basic idea, who I think might win. This card, some of the fighters, most of the fighters I do know, some of them I do not. So I'm not going to get too heavily into the ones I'm not familiar with. The first fight on the main card is the flyweight division with Joseph Benavidez versus John Moraga. I never heard of John Moraga before. I have heard of Joseph Benavidez, and I do believe that he will win this fight, Joseph Benavidez. So I think that he definitely will take the win in this fight. Just based off of pure experience and the fact that he has challenged Demetrius Johnson for the UFC flyweight title in the first place. And didn't have a bad match with him either. The next match, or next fight on this card, is a heavyweight bout between Travis Browne and Andrei Arlovski. These two guys I am very familiar with. Andrei Arlovski, former UFC heavyweight champion from back in the day. He is a old veteran, well known in UFC if you paid attention to old UFC content in the past. And definitely Andrei Arlovski is a good fighter. I do believe he's got some knockout power and good submission moves. Travis Browne, great on his feet. Youth behind him. He's got a lot more youth than Andrei Arlovski, and he's been on a hell of a winning streak. I truly believe in the next fight or two, he will be challenging Cain Velasquez for that UFC heavyweight championship, unless Cain Velasquez loses that title to somebody else, leading up to whenever Travis Browne gets a shot for that UFC heavyweight championship. So I'm definitely going to go with Travis Browne on this one. I think he's got a very good shot of winning this match, or this fight, whichever way you would like to call it. The next fight on this card is the lightweight bout between Donald Cerrone and John Makdessi. Now, John Makdessi, I'm not too familiar with. I've heard of the name before, but I'm not, entirely familiar with this fighter. Donald Cerrone, I have been following him for the last couple of years. He has been busting people's asses and has been on a hell of a winning streak in the last, I think, year or two. So he's definitely been impressive. I definitely think by this time, if he wins this fight, which I'm going with Donald Cerrone on this one, I'm pretty certain he's going to get a UFC lightweight championship shot against whoever is the champion. Currently, right now, is Rafael Dos Santos, I think, is the name. I'm not entirely sure. Anthony Pettis was actually the champion going into their fight at UFC 185, and unfortunately, he lost that title. Very surprising as well. It went into a decision at UFC 185, and I was shocked by the fact that Anthony Pettis lost that title. But that's not here or there because this is not based on this card. So Donald Cerrone, I definitely believe, will win this fight. He has got outstanding knockout power with his kicks. I've seen a couple of his fights end with him kicking his opponent in the head and knocking them clean out. But he's also got very good punching power as well. Then the co-main event. Chris Weidman, the UFC middleweight champion, will defend the title against Vitor Belfort. Now, Vitor Belfort, I am very familiar with. A long time UFC veteran. Has had some outstanding fights. One man that actually came really close to beating John Jones for the UFC light heavyweight title. And that fight occurred at UFC 152, just to let you guys know, in case you wanted to, if you've never seen that fight before, I would encourage you to check that fight out. It was pretty damn good, and, Vitor Belfort almost came through with the win, but I'm not going to give all of that away. Check it out, and you'll definitely be impressed by it, especially by both fighters, John Jones and Vitor Belfort. Anyway, though, but this ain't UFC 152, this is UFC 187, so I'm going to stay on point with this shit. And just to let you know, I think I'm going to go with Chris Weidman on this for two specific reasons. One, youth. Two, actually I'm going to add a third reason as well. Two, he has beaten Anderson Silva not once but twice in his career. Once to win the title, and once he defended against, Anderson Silva. The first time, he won by a little bit of luck, I think, mainly because Anderson Silva took him lightly in that fight. But overall, I think that in the second fight, Chris Weidman proved that he was definitely worthy enough to be the UFC middleweight champion, because Anderson Silva didn't go into that fight messing around with Weidman at all, and he still happened to lose with an unfortunate leg break. But even before he broke his leg trying to kick Weidman in the shin, or in the thigh, or the calf muscle, excuse me, not the thigh, that would be too close to his groin area. But yeah, anyway, he, before that happened, Weidman was actually had an advantage on him. He was connecting with good punches. It didn't seem like Anderson Silva was at the same level that he normally is at in a championship fight. I was very shocked by this at UFC 168, and it was just very surprising how Weidman was able to really take control of this fight. And then, Anderson Silva seemed like he was picking up momentum, and he ended up getting his leg broke. So that was very unfortunate. But Weidman, to me, proved that. And the third reason why I think he might walk away with this win and stay the champion is his wrestling skills. He's an outstanding wrestler. He can take fights to the ground and also fight standing up. But in a stand-up game, if he stays, keeps this fight in a stand-up game for the entire fight, I'm going to go with Vitor Belfort on this, because Vitor Belfort has got some knockout power, very aggressive guy, and he's got good submission holds. But if you just keep this fight in a stand-up game alone, I think Vitor Belfort wins this fight by knockout. But with everything else you can do in UFC, I truly think that Weidman's going to, use all of his abilities in this fight to win, because I'm very certain he knows very well that Vitor Belfort is a very good stand-up fighter, and he's probably going to take this to the ground more than likely. I would be very surprised this fight stays in a stand-up fight, and Weidman winning it on top of it. So I'd be very surprised by that. But anything can happen in UFC. So and it's definitely a 50-50 chance that either one of these guys could win. It's a very close toss-up between these two. So, but I'm definitely going to go with the champion on this one. I think he's definitely got a great shot at retaining the title, mainly because of youth and experience of facing a legendary fighter two times in his career and winning both times. Now, the main event, the UFC Light Heavyweight Championship. Jon Jones, of course, knocked out of the picture. He's no longer the champion. Two of the fighters are competing for the vacated UFC Light Heavyweight title. It is Anthony Rumble Johnson versus Daniel Cormier. And just to get into this fight, Daniel Cormier's got some knockout power as well as Anthony Johnson. I think a big key factor that's going to play into this fight is stamina. I think that that would definitely go in the realm of Anthony Johnson. If this fight goes to the distance, to almost 5 rounds, or 2 5 rounds, all the way through to a final decision, Anthony Johnson's going to win. If Daniel Cormier wins this fight, he's definitely going to have to win it early, like first or second round. I definitely feel that this fight may be in a stand-up fight. So you're definitely going to be seeing kicks and fists flying all over the place in this one. Definitely, it's going to be a good fight. I think it's going to be a hell of a brawl. These guys have very similar fighting styles, I think, in my opinion. So I think that this is definitely going to be a hell of an event. Well shaped out card. A lot of good, well-known fighters on this card as well. So definitely, I am going to try my damnedest to be able to tune into this fight, if possible, on May 23rd. That's when this fight occurs, this whole pay-per-view. If not, I'll catch it on the watchwrestling.ch website. I would definitely recommend to anybody that's interested in this. I will try to make sure that I put that link down below under the video in the next day or two, just so that you guys would be able to check it out on there. And if I don't go ahead and can't see it live on pay-per-view, I definitely will watch it on the Watch Wrestling website, and I will go ahead and later on during that same week that the pay-per-view was available to watch on that website, I will definitely go ahead and review that to you guys. But I don't believe I gave who I thought was going to win that main event fight for the UFC Light Heavyweight Championship. I'm going to go with Anthony Johnson, bottom line, because of the simple fact, I think this fight is definitely going to go the distance. I don't think this fight is going to end too early, in my opinion, unless somebody gets a really good lucky shot on one another and they fall down immediately. So if this fight does go the distance, I'm with Anthony Johnson on this. And even though if it doesn't go the distance, Anthony Johnson still has a very good shot at ending this fight early anyway to begin with. So I definitely find this fight to be in Anthony Johnson's favor, and I see him walking away as the new UFC Light Heavyweight Champion. Anyway, that's about all I have to say about this pay-per-view. I will give a review when it is available to watch, or if I watch it live on pay-per-view. But anyway, at this time, I do thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed the preview for UFC 187. Hit that subscribe button and have a great day, guys. Bye.